Recording in progress.
Om Sahanavatu Sahanavatu Sahaviryam Karavavate Tejasvinavaditamastu Made Chavate Om Shanti Shanti. We are currently studying the Mahavakya. Currently we are studying the Mahavakya analysis. Of the 4 Mahavakyas, the first 2 is covered. The first one is Prajnanam Brahma. The second one is Tattvamasi. Both are covered. Today we are going to study the Ayam Atma Brahma portion. The 4 Mahavakyas talks about the very definition of Mahavakya is any statement that talks about the Jiva Brahma Aikya is called a Mahavakya. Vakya means statements. Maha means great sayings. Great sayings. Why do we call it as great? All Vedic statements are Mahavakyas only. But why do we pick up a very few and say they are Mahavakyas? Because the Mahavakyas specifically talk about the Jiva Brahma Aikya. Wherever the essential oneness is spoken about, that is called Mahavakya. You have a body, you have a mind, you have an intellect, you go through the 3 states of consciousness. All these are not called Mahavakyas. Why? Because they don't talk about the oneness. Any statement that doesn't talk about the oneness is called preparatory statement. Any statement that talks about the oneness is called Mahavakya. And throughout Vedanta, you find a lot of Mahavakyas. Mahavakyas are not restricted only to this 4. There is lot of Mahavakyas you find over the Vedic, Vedantic, Upanishadic literature. For understanding purposes, we have taken 4. Prajnanam Brahma. Jnanam means knowledge. Prajnanam means the real knowledge. Now, is there a thing called, if we say something as real knowledge, then is there something called unreal knowledge? It's not unreal knowledge. One is called Jnanam, another is called Prajnanam. So, one kind of knowledge talks about the Nama Rupa of an object. Any knowledge that talks about Jnana, any information that gives you this is the name, this is the height, this is the weight, this is the configuration, we call it as knowledge. Prajnanam means when all the Nama Rupa is dissolved, what remains? That is Prajnanam. Again I repeat, Jnanam is that which gives you a knowledge of the attributes. Attributes means Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. So one kind of knowledge doesn't talk about the essential nature, but talks about the changing nature. Anything that talks about the changing nature is called Jnanam. Prajnanam is a special knowledge. What is a special knowledge? Special knowledge is that which talks about the essential nature when all the changing natures are dismissed. When all this is resolved, what you are left with is prajnanam. That essential nature of everything is called Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma. That is the first Mahavakya. The second Mahavakya is location. Where is it located? One thing is to say it is all pervading. There are two ways of locating it. One way of locating it is all pervading. Another way of locating it is you are that. There are two ways of locating it. One way of locating is to say it is everywhere. It is sarva vyapi, sarva adhari, or sarva adhara. The one way of elaborating it is by saying it is everywhere, all pervading. That way of locating is beneficial to write poetry, but you cannot understand anything. That way of explanation, that it is all pervading and all, is very good for. You can write a poetry, you can be very scholarly about it, but it will never give you a understanding. So what is the other way? The other way of locating tat, tvam, asi. Tat means that. Tvam means you. You are that. That and this are the two classic Vedantic terms. They will not say directly what that is. They will not directly say what this is. If only they have directly told it, there is no problem. But they don't say it directly. They use the language of that and that is this. This is that. Why can't they be straightforward and directly say it? A Mahavakya is a statement that is supposed to trigger manana, nididhyasana, anubhava. Any statement that is straightforward, there is no need for you to think. So only when words that and this makes you to think. Why should you be made to think? You should be made to think because thinking turns into a conviction, conviction turns into a mumukshatva, mumukshatva turns into anubhava. Directly saying it will not trigger this process. Therefore what they did, that and this. You are that. They could have straight away said you are Brahman. No. They don't say you are that. Tattvamasi. Of the four Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi analysis is a very elaborate process. Not so much I am Atma Brahma, not so much Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. Now, we have covered Tattvamasi in detail. So, we are not going to go into that Tattvamasi again. We have covered that in detail. The 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is divided into these three sets, only to explain this aphorism, Tat Tvam Asi. Most of the analytical methods of Vedanta evolved to analyze the statement Tattvamasi because it is so profound a statement. That's why it's called Upadesa Vakya. Since it is an Upadesha, teaching, and the teaching is not something that is so easy to comprehend, a method went behind. Second Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. The third one is Abhyasa, practice. That's what we are going to study now. I am Atma Brahma. Are we studying that portion?
Yes, sir.
Shankar படிக்கிறேன்ல படிங்க. I am Atma Brahma படிங்க.
Yeah. The third aphorism, I am Atma Brahma. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, படிங்க.
This self is Brahman. He is in Mandukya Upanishad in Atharvana Veda. I am means this. Atma is your supreme self within. The aphorism states that the Atman, self in you, is Brahman pervading everywhere. If Brahman is likened to a conflagration, then an individual would be a spark arising from it. Conflagration is fire, so is spark. Both are the element fire. Spark is conflagration, so are you, the supreme consciousness. Yourself, Atman, is Brahman. Remember this truth at all times. Repeat it to yourself. Entertain this thought until you realize yourself to be Brahman. Hence, this aphorism is known as Abhyasa Vakya, statement of practice. The last aphorism, Aham Brahma Asmi, I am Brahman, appears in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the Yajurveda. Aham means I, Asmi means am, and Brahman is God. So the aphorism means I am God. It is the ultimate pronouncement of a self-realized person. Prior to self-realization, you can use the first person singular pronoun I to mean the waker, dreamer, or deep sleeper. In the three states, yourself is conditioned by your gross, subtle, and causal bodies, respectively. And the conditioned self expresses as the waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. The philosophy of Vedanta helps you to get over the conditioning. Apply this knowledge in your life. Transcend the limitation imposed by your material bodies. Expose your supreme self. Reveal the nascent I. That pure, unconditioned native I is God. My real self is God. That's the ultimate experience of self-realization, hence known as Anubhava Vakya, a statement of experience. The Bhagavad Gita expounds the aphorism that thou art. Its 18 chapters can be divided into 3 sets of 6 chapters each. The first set relates to thou. The middle set deals with that. The last set with heart. So the profound philosophy of the Gita expounds the aphorism. Such is the power and grandeur of the aphorisms. The aphorisms pronounce that there is but one supreme reality. That reality you are. Realize that the world is a mere passing phenomenon, a variety show with no pith or substance. Yet you are lost in this empty show. The ignorance of yourself has caused it all. No more of that ignorance. Regain the knowledge of your supreme self. Establish yourself in your real being. Merge with reality.
Now, we are discussing I am Atma Brahma. I am means this. Tat means that. In the previous Mahavakya, we saw the use of word Tat. In this Mahavakya, we are using the word I am this. I am Atma Brahma. So in Mahavakya analysis, we take up each and every word and analyze it. First we take up the word I am. I am means this, the Sanskrit I am. The very first lesson in Sanskrit starts with I am Gajaha, they will start. I am Ajaha, I am Gajaha, they start. Clear? No, first lesson, first you go to the Sanskrit class, very first word, I am Ajaha, I am a goat. I am Atma Brahma, they should start. No, I still remember, whenever the word I am comes, my memory goes to the very first Sanskrit, very first Sanskrit. I am Ajaha, I am this, not in English, I am this. So it's not I am. You should pronounce it as
I am.
I am. I am Gajaha. So some of the boys will say, no, I'm going to go to it's not I am, it is I am. I am means this. I am Ajaha. So the first word in Sanskrit is I am this. Tat is that. This and that are two beautiful words. Two beautiful words. I am and Tat. That which is Tat at one point of time becomes this at another point of time. That is the shift. Vijay, edavadhu puriyudha? Onnum puriyala, nothing is understood, it's okay. No problem. Yeah. That what is that at one period of time becomes this at another period of time. That book in the store becomes this book. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
Vijay, that person's daughter becomes my wife, no? Are you able to follow? That and this is the same entity. They are not different. Venkatachalam, are you able to follow now? That and this are not two different entities. It is the same entity appearing differently on different time factors. That implies distance, this implies
Proximity.
closeness. Are they two different objects? No. That chair has become this chair. That book becomes this book. So that which is seen as at a distance at one point of time is that which becomes close at another point of time. Object is the same. What is object here? Brahman is the object. Replace book with Brahman. That Brahman, seeing God at a distant entity as a third person entity, from the third person entity, you try and bring God to I am this. That God is supporting this world. I'm seeing after 2 years, no? Shiva Kataksham, after 2 years, 2.5 years, I thought you left Chennai. Shiva Kataksham. Shiva Jnana. Like Shiva Jnana. That God is supporting this world. Here, God is the distant object, world is closer to you. At one level. At another level, this world gets dissolved into God. Then what remains? You and God. And that God becomes this God. So I am Atma Brahma is a conscious repetition done. What is the repetition? This is God. This is God. When you say this means, what is God? You are, I am God. I am God. So now when we say I am God, it's not the Sanskrit I am, it's the English I am. I am Atma Brahma. In English we say I am God. Who are you? I have said this before also. When the Shishya comes to the Guru innocuously seems like asking a very innocuous question. Who are you? The answer that you give to that question knows, the Guru will know at what level of growth you are. Accordingly, you will be taught. When you come, the Guru asks,
Who are you?
obviously, phone who are you? So, when the Shishya comes, the Guru asks this question, who are you? When Adi Shankaracharya went to meet his Guru Gaudapada, Govinda Bhagavad Pada. Govinda Bhagavad Pada is Shankara's Guru. When Shankara met Govinda Bhagavad Pada, Govinda asked him, who are you? Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. He only asked, who are you? For which he gave answers in 8 hymns. It's called Atma Shadakam. Shadakam means 8. He gave that. And he gave that, Govinda Bhagavad Pada knew that he is a qualified adhikari for moksha. Who are you? I am the CEO of this company. The Guru knows, okay. He understands. Who are you? I am a PhD scholar. Okay. Who are you? I am the son of so and so. Whenever the questions who are you comes, the answer should be I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. It's a practice. That's why it's called Abhyasa, practice. Abhyasa means practice. Not a self-hypnotism, not brainwashing. It's a conscious, deliberate practice. What is the conscious, deliberate practice? That practice that comes out of Shravana and Manana and Nididhyasana. That practice that comes out of Manana and Nididhyasana. Manana removes the doubt. Nididhyasana reinforces the knowledge. Again I repeat. Manana removes the doubt. It's called samshaya nivritti. Reflection removes the doubt. When the doubts are removed, you will get satisfied. But you will not get established in knowledge. It is Nididhyasana that helps you to get established. And what is Nididhyasana? I am Atma Brahma is not a Manana. I am Atma Brahma is a Nididhyasana. It's a Nididhyasana. What is Nididhyasana? In Manana, remember this. In Manana, what all you called as attributes of Brahman, in Nididhyasana, you have to say, these are my attributes. Again I repeat. What all you understand as attributes of Brahman in Manana, in Nididhyasana, you have to say, these are my attributes. That is symbolic of this Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. God is all-pervading. Manana. Nididhyasana.
I am all pervading.
I am all-pervading. I am not even this chair pervading. I am not even this room pervading. How can I be?
All pervading.
How can I be all-pervading? This doubt will not come at Nididhyasana. When you say I am Atma Brahma, this doubt will not come. Why it will not come? Because in Manana itself all these doubts are taken care of. So when we say I am Atma Brahma, I am all pervading, it is not meant as the body is all pervading, it is not meant as the mind is all pervading, it is not meant as the intellect is all pervading. So it is not the body, mind and intellect that is all pervading. Because you think I means the body, mind and intellect, you find it very difficult to do Nididhyasana. So if you have to do Nididhyasana, what is necessary? The disconnect from body, mind and intellect is necessary. That is why in English, the Nididhyasana practice is told as I am not the body, I am the self. I am not the mind, I am the self. I am not the intellect, I am the self. Again I repeat. I am not the body, I am the self. I am not the mind, I am the self. I am not the intellect, I am the self. How do I say that? Because in Manana itself, all the doubts are cleared. Samshaya Nivritti has happened at the level of reflection itself. So here what do? You say, I am Atma Brahma. This. Why do we say still this? Why do you say this still? Because you are only practicing it, you have not yet reached it. It's a practice. I am Atma Brahma. You keep saying I am Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma because it is still a Abhyasa Vakya practice. Practice means what? Any repetitive doing is called practice. Any repetitive doing is practice. In Manana, you repeat various concepts. You analyze various concepts. The spectrum of repetition is very vast in Manana. In Nididhyasana, the repetition spectrum is a few words. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. One. Second thing is, in and through whatever you do, the I am Atma Brahma will be in the background running. This I am Atma Brahma Nididhyasana is not a closed, you don't sit with your closed eyes and say, I am Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. That is not the practice, that's not the practice in Nididhyasana. Then what is the practice of Nididhyasana? I am Atma Brahma. Whatsoever you keep doing, one part of you, whatsoever you keep doing, one part of you is very clear in remembrance. What is the remembrance? I am Atma. It's there in the background, like the Shruti Adhara for all activities. That's why the example, the classical music Shruti example is given for this. The Shruti becomes the Adhara for all the activities. So this I am Atma Brahma is the Adhara. Even now there is a Nididhyasana practice going on. But the Nididhyasana practice is saying, I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect. Even now there is a Nididhyasana happening. But it's wrong Nididhyasana. We have to change the subject. Instead of saying, I am the body, mind, intellect, you say, I am the self. I am the self. I am the self. And what is the self? What is this Brahman? Shuddha, pure, Chaitanya, consciousness, Sakshi, witness. So what is this Brahman? Shuddha, Sakshi, Chaitanya, pure, witnessing consciousness. What is this Brahman? The pure witnessing consciousness. In Vedanta, remember this. The goal, the path to the goal, both are same. Again I repeat, in Vedanta, the path, the goal, and the path to the goal are one and the same. Objectivity is the goal, objectivity is the path. If detachment is the goal, detachment is the path of detachment takes you to the goal of detachment. The path of witnessing takes you to the goal of witnessing. The path and the goal are one and the same. What is the difference? One is effortless, another is effort. In one, you will lose awareness. In other, you are right. That's the only difference. Otherwise, the path and the goal are one and the same. So in Ayamatma Brahma, it's not a mechanical repetition of Ayamatma Brahma. It is an inspired repetition. An inspired repetition. Inspiration is because of the past Purva Karma. Purva Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all the practices, Sadhana, Chatushtaya, Sampath, all put together has brought about an inspired state, and in that inspired state, this repetition becomes very inspiring. So the practice, Ayamatma Brahma, comes in the Mandukya Upanishad. Now in the Atharva Veda. Of the 10 authoritative Upanishads, maximum number of Upanishads comes in the Atharva Veda. Of the 10 Upanishads, Atharva Veda has a very good number of Upanishads, and one of the very difficult Upanishads, which is the Ayamatma Brahma, is in the Mandukya. There the advice is in relation to the waking dream deep sleeper. I am not the waker, I am not the dreamer, and I am not the deep sleeper. Incidentally, for academic purposes, I am saying this Mahavakya, Ayamatma Brahma, comes in two Upanishads. Mandukya Upanishad, second mantra talks about Ayamatma Brahma. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the portion called Madhu Brahmana, last portion, the same Mahavakya, Ayamatma Brahma comes. So two Upanishads carries this Mahavakya. Why? Because it is the Abhyasa state. Because it is Abhyas, it remains. Very beautiful practice. I am Atma Brahma. I am means that which is self-luminant. The I is self-luminant. Now, I am taking the technical analysis of I am Atma Brahma. Iduvaraikkum we spoke about a very practical way of understanding this word aham, I. Now we don't stop at that. We go deeper. So this I am, what is this I am? This refers to I. And what is the nature of I? All other things are revealed because of the I, and I is self-revealing. Again, all other things reveals because of the I. What reveals the I? Self-revealing. So what is the nature of the I? The nature of the I, it is self-evident, it is ever present, it is real. Why do we call it as real? All other things are dependent on an instrument for it to reveal. The eyes reveal a particular color and form. Ears reveal a particular aspect of sound. What bandwidth, the spectrum, decibels, okay. Anything above that, below that doesn't exist. So, all that is revealed outside is conditioned by the instrument that reveals it. That's why we say all knowledges are conditioned knowledge. Are you able to follow? All knowledges are called conditioned knowledge. Why? Because it is revealed according to the instrument. A different animal with a different set of instruments, what it will see? It will see it very differently. So, the knowledge of the world according to the elephant is different. Knowledge of the world according to a zebra is different. The knowledge of the world according to a giraffe is different. The knowledge of the world according to the ant is different. The knowledge of the world according to a human being is different. One world reveals itself as
many
different. What a fantastic analysis. The same world is revealing itself as difference to many. Even to one species, it reveals itself differently. Now the question is, in all these knowledges, what is the right knowledge? In all these, what is the right knowledge? Every instrument will say, what is revealed to me is right. Or every instrument will say, what is revealed to me is right.
Yes.
Vedanta comes and says, you cannot call it as a right knowledge. You have to say, that is how it is revealed to you. Even to you, it reveals very differently at different periods of time. It means one kind of knowledge is that which is revealed according to the instrument. When you are in a very good mood, anybody making a negative remark about you will not affect you. When you are in a bad mood, the same word affects you, isn't it? The same word affects you. The same word uttered by some is very pleasant. The same word uttered by somebody else is
insulting,
very unpleasant. So it means the world never reveals itself as it is. The world always reveals itself according to the type of the instrument that you have. These are all the peak of manana that will take you to nididhyasa. So world never reveals itself anything rightly to you. What these great men did, if all this is removed, what remains? If all the five senses are removed, If the mind is removed, if the intellect is removed, what remains? Logically, you have to call it as zero. Logically, you have to call it as zero. Experientially, the I. Friend, answer varum. If you remove everything, if you logically remove everything, what remains? Obviously, sir, zero. எல்லாம் போச்சுன்னா என்ன இருக்கும்? ஒன்றும் இருக்காது. Zero. It's called Shunyavada. We dismiss that Shunyavada as a wrong conclusion. Why? Because an infinite cannot arise out of
Zero.
a void. If zero is the reality, where does all this come from? Therefore, that Shunyavada is rejected. Then what remains? Something that is self-revealing remains. What is that self-revealing? I am. First we are discussing the word I am. I am na I-nar. I am equals I, and what is the nature of the I? The nature of the I is, it is self-revealing. It is self-evident. It is self-evident. It is the closest. Nothing is closest to you as the I is. This body becomes that body at a different level. Correct? You are very close to the body, but then it is not the closest. You are very close to the mind, but it is not the closest. Superlative. Superlative than closest. Your intellect is close. It is closer, but it is not the closest. How do we say that it is closer but not the closest? It is not the closest because it is closer under certain terms and conditions. You will drop it under certain terms and conditions. Again I repeat, it is closer but never the closest. In the context of aham, we use the word closer and closest. In the words of Yajnavalkya, we use the word dear, dearer, dearest. Yajnavalkya uses three words: dear, dearer, dearest. What is the dearest? The I is the dearest. The I is the dearest. The most dearest to you is what? You. You means the I. The I means, is it the combination of body, mind, intellect, the I? No. That cannot be the closest. Why? That cannot be the dearest. Why? Because you pick it up at one point of time and you drop it at
Another point of
another point of time. So you pick and drop the dear and the dearer. The close and the closer is picked and dropped. The closest, the dearest is ever present. So I am here equals I. Are you okay till now? Then comes Atma. What is this Atma? That is where the Atma, so many analysis we have done. In the context of Mandukya Upanishad, it is the three koshas. It is the three states of consciousness. The I that lends vitality to the waker, the I that lends vitality to the dreamer, the I that lends vitality to the sleeper. It lends vitality to the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, but is not dependent on the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper to vitalize itself. So what is this Atma? Atma is that which is the innermost nature. What is that innermost? What is the innermost of the waking state? That is Atma. What is the innermost in the dream state? That is Atma. What is innermost in the deep sleep state? That is Atma. If waker, dream, deep sleep state goes, the I doesn't go. Therefore, it is ever present, it is ever evident. If the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper goes, will I go? Logically speaking, it looks like the I will go. But then we understand the I will not, because it is not the usage of I, it is the I-ness. The I-ness, the is-ness. So this is Atma. What is Brahma? I am Atma, we said. The third thing is Brahma. The difference between Atma and Brahma is the difference between part space and total space. Is space only. The difference between Atma and Brahma is the difference between part space and total space. Mundaka Upanishad brings the difference. Mundaka Upanishad brings a different difference, which is what is quoted in this book. The Mundaka Upanishad, the difference is conflagration and spark. When the wood is burning, so easy to understand. When the wood is burning, so many sparks come out of it. Is there a difference between the fire in the wood and the fire in the spark? There is no difference. Both are one and the same. Similarly, the Atman that is used to locate in you is the Brahman that is
pervaded everywhere.
Everywhere. So, what is the conclusion of I am Atma Brahma now? The Brahman in you is the Brahman everywhere. Are you able to follow? So what is I am Atma Brahma conclusion? The Brahman in you is the Brahman everywhere. That leads to the fourth Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. That's how it leads to the fourth. The Brahman in you is the Brahman everywhere. The Brahman in you is the Brahman everywhere. Nididhyasana is something different. In Upadesha it will be told like this. What is Nididhyasana? What is here is what everywhere. What is here is what is there everywhere. Yeah. Solo Tamil part irukudhu andha madri. Correct? What is here is what is there everywhere. That is Nididhyasana, I am Atma Brahma. It's said in a very simple Sanskrit word, I am Atma Brahma. So, the real here is the real everywhere. The real here, the real here is the real everywhere. The real here is the real everywhere. It means what? It Means what? There is only reality. If there is only reality, then what are you seeing? All the answers are given, all the questions are clarified in the manana level itself. Then what are you seeing? If reality is what is there everywhere, then what are you seeing? Mithya. What you are seeing is mithya. Everyone follow? So Ayamatma Brahma is the Mahavakya, that Abhyasa. And what is Abhyasa? The real here is the real everywhere. What is known as Atman here is what is known as Brahman everywhere. In reference to the microcosm, it is called Atma. In reference to the macrocosm, it is called Brahman. But both are one and the same. So for meditation practices, for Nididhyasana practices, we take the microcosmic word. When it comes to the Anubhava, we take the macrocosmic word. You don't take it, they say it like that. When that person has that experience, naturally that person says, Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi, we are going to do next week. Another beautiful Mahavakya. Present continuous, sir. Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi means it refers to the present, and the present is ever present. That present never has a past or a future. We will get confused ourselves like that when we go there. The word Asmi. Sanskrit grammar that we will do next week. A little bit of grammar is needed to use the word Asmi. But for this I am Atma Brahma, grammar and all is not so much required. This elaboration itself is enough. What is this? The reality in relation to the microcosm is called Atma. The reality in relation to the macrocosm is called Brahma. So I am Atma Brahma says microcosm is macrocosm. So what is I am Atma Brahma? I, not this I. I means microcosm is macrocosm. There is no difference between micro and macro. This constant remembrance is Nididhyasana. It means what? All that you see stops bothering you. All that you hear stops bothering you. Nothing can affect you. Nothing can touch you. Nothing can take you. Why? Because the micro is the macro. Okay. Ayamatma Brahma is a very, very technical way of saying what in chapter 4, verse number 24. Chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita, verse number 24. And the verse Maragave Mudaya, Shankar. In the verse, minimum 3 times in a day you have to say that. What is that verse? Verse number 24, chapter 4.
Brahmarpanam Brahma.
Correct name vechirukra. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnav Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. Every aspect of it is Brahman, is I am Atma Brahma. What is this I am Atma Brahma? Every aspect is Brahman. What is Brahman? Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. The Arpana is Brahman. The Havihi is Brahman. Brahmahavihi. The Agni is Brahma. Now the Uda is Brahman. Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam. Everything is Brahman. What is the result of it? Brahman. So, what is Nididhyasana? Brahman calling itself
Brahman only.
Brahman. அவ்வளவுதான் நிதித்தியாசம். Brahman calling itself as Brahman is Nididhyasana. When you experience it, you say it as Aham
Brahmasmi.
Brahma Asmi. What is that in Tattvamasi? What is this in Ayam Atma Brahma becomes Aham. That length, this side, it became Aham. From that, it becomes this. From this, it becomes I.
Aha.
Such a gradual development of, such a very beautiful gradual development of taking it from the farthest to the nearest, the closest. Finally declaring it as Aham. So what is this Ayam Atma Brahma? Macrocosm is microcosm. Ayam here refers to this. This refers to the Atman. And what is this Atman? Is the Brahman. Because it is associated with the pot, it is called the pot space. It is space only. When the space is associated with the room, it will be called room space. When it is associated with the open, it will be called as
Open space.
open space. Whether it is pot space or the room space or the open space, space is the same. Pot, room, open is the instrument's connection. So whenever the instrument is connected, it seems to be conditioned by that, but in effect is not conditioned. So Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam Atma Brahma is the analysis of the third Mahavakya. Then there is one more Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi, at Arthavaran report. We will take it next week. Ayam Atma Brahma is for today. Sir, are you okay? Yes. Correct. This is the elaboration of Ayam Atma Brahma. Next class, I will quickly summarize this Ayam Atma Brahma and then we will go to Aham Brahmasmi. Adukapra I will summarize all the four in one class. So next time where you will feel like saying adutha chapter to close this and go to the next. Shankar, even when you come back, we will still be discussing only this, sir. Don't worry. With this, we conclude this Ayam Atma Brahma for today. We continue next.